Sweet! So, again, I make these while I'm driving. It's rainy out today, and it was a mild thunderstorm. It thundered a few times earlier, so if you hear any viciousness in the background, whether it's like a... that's probably just the rain hitting off my car / windshield. When I said car, I mean like the roof, you know, the metal part. Also, if you hear any weird bangs, it could just be thunder. Anyhow, so as the title tells you, this time I'm going to be talking about my job that I have in more, how do I want to say this, in more detail? Like, kind of like what I think about it. Before, I made a T4Cast about my job and how I got it and what I do. This time I want to kind of talk about it more on a personal level. So, to get started, this is what I think. There's definitely pros and cons to this job. I think the cons outweigh it, because I don't know how long I'll be lasting at this company. I'm not saying I'll be quitting anytime soon, but I've definitely started casually browsing for other jobs. So I figured I'd talk about why I feel that way. So anyways, the pros of the job are I do like the people. Like, just about everybody here is pretty cool. Really, the only person that's not pretty cool is the guy. He's now the metallizing supervisor. He got promoted fairly recently by default because the last guy got fired. but I can't really say he's not cool either. It's just he's kind of stiff, I guess is the best way to put it. He's always mad looking for no reason, but I don't think he really is mad or anything. It's just his look. And so he doesn't really talk, so like I don't really have any kind of like work relationship with him. So he's like the only guy that's kind of like, man, but everyone else is pretty cool. Anyone else that you actually can talk to is normal and cool, and that's pretty awesome. I also like how close it is for me to everything. It's close to home for me, and it's close to where my daughter's mother lives. It's actually closer to where my daughter's mother lives than it is for me to go home. It's about 15 minutes away from where I live, but it's only like 10 minutes from where she lives. So that's pretty cool, because all along, basically my daughter's entire life, or a significant chunk of it, I've worked far. My last job was an hour and a half away, roughly, just about. It was 100 miles a day round trip that I was putting on my car. So, you know, I'd leave work at 3:30, and I wouldn't be able to get to pick my daughter up until 5. That's when I finally would get back. So now it's pretty awesome. I leave work at 4, and I'm picking her up by 4:15. Now with school too, it's pretty awesome that sometimes, or a lot of times actually, I'm able to get home before she even gets home. So that's pretty cool too. Like, I can kind of get her off the bus, so to speak. I mean, she's 8, she doesn't really need somebody to get her off the bus, but you know what I mean. Like, it's kind of cool. That's something I never thought I'd actually be able to experience, because when I was working far before, that was not an option. What's even cooler is my job is literally right down the street from her school. It's about, I don't know, 4 minutes away from her school. So if need be, I'm literally right down the street. If she was sick and had to have someone pick her up, I could go do it in a jiffy, no problem. I know it would never happen because her mom is a pain in the butt and doesn't put me on the list. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm not an approved person to be able to pick her up, which is very annoying. And she's even said before at like parent-teacher conferences, oh, he's not allowed to ever pick her up, blah, blah, blah. And I always mean to bring the court order whenever we do go to those things and say, well, you can look through this. There's nothing that says I couldn't pick her up. It's just her being a pain in the butt for no reason. And it's mother effing annoying, and I hate it. And I don't know why she's going to be like that. But anyways, if she could stop being a dick, I'm right down the street. So it's super convenient if, like I said, if I needed to go. And it wouldn't affect me at all, like financially, because I'm salary. So if my daughter was sick, all I'd have to do is, hey, sorry guys, I gotta go. My daughter's sick, I gotta pick her up from school. Doesn't affect me, and I'm 4 minutes away. I could be there as soon as the school calls, basically. They'd hang up, and there I'd be standing. Hey, I'm here to pick up Morgan. Oh, geez, you're already here? Yeah, I just worked down the street. So that idea is probably more theory than it'll ever be practice. But still, that's pretty cool too, you know? Well, remember how I said it's raining out? I would imagine you can probably hear it now, because it just picked up like very significantly. It's there's no way you can't hear this. Anyway, so I do like that. And yeah, like I was saying, I just like how close it is to home too. Like, not only is it cool how much closer I am to pick up my daughter, but it's cool how close I am to home. Before, I used to have to like going to work when you work far, for me, I like, because it gave me an opportunity to kind of wake up and I'd think about my day. What projects do I have to do? Which ones am I going to approach in which order? What do I have to do on these jobs that I have? What might come up? It gave me a chance to think about everything, get my day planned out during the hour and a half ride to work. So it kind of worked out kind of cool. But on the way home, it's like, I just want to get home. I hated the ride home. It's funny because it never bothered me, my long ride to work. It was just always the ride home sucked. Like, I just wanted to get home. And I always felt like I was just driving and driving and driving. And I was like, oh, I'm almost there yet. But yeah, so now it's cool. It's like, the ride home still does feel long where I'm at now. But I think it's just psychological, It's like, I just want to be home. It's like, I just want to walk out and boom, I'm home. Cool. Not have to take 15 minutes to get there. But in comparison, 15 minutes is still way better than an hour and a half, so I'll take it. And the other thing that's pretty cool is, the town that I work in now, I'm ridiculously familiar with. I travel in the town all the time for the shops and stuff. So the thing that makes that cool is, like, on lunch break, I know if I want to go dick around at a store, I know what stores are around. I know the area. I also know restaurants, so I know my options for lunch. Where I used to work, I didn't know anything about the area. I just knew how to get to work and how to get home. That was it. So there wasn't much for me to do per se when I was on lunch, because I didn't know. There could have been a fantastic mall down the street from where I worked. I have no idea. I don't know. So that's kind of cool too. And then as far as the product line goes and what we actually do at my job, I like that as well. I like how I like what we make. I like how I don't want to say it's easy, but relatively speaking for engineering, it's kind of easy engineering. It's not like I got to really put in hardcore work to, figure out all these tensile strengths and then put in factor of safeties and then keep in mind what the factor of safety was and then evaluate if that's even enough just in case and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not really stressful. Like, at the end of the day, if I screw something up, really all it's going to do is set our launch date back a little bit until we fix it. Like, it's not a big deal, It's not like people are going to die because I screwed up. It's not like a architectural structure is going to collapse on itself because I screwed up. It's more like I screwed up, oops, well, I'll take this day to fix it on an engineering side of things, and then the shop will just have to take a couple weeks to incorporate those edits, and then we'll be fine. So, like, that's kind of cool too. But also the product itself is pretty cool. It's stuff that you make that you can find in the store. Like, there's something at Target that I can find that my company made. It's even stamped on the container and everything, my company's logo, and it's just awesome. Now, technically, I wasn't involved with that project. That was before I started with this company, but it's still cool. I know of the product. I know what the part number is. I know some history of how that product came about. That specific product, we actually are working on like a newer version now, which should be launching sometime soon, I think. I thought it was going to be like beginning of this year. It still hasn't launched yet, but it should be sometime this year. And that will be even cooler when I see it in the stores, because that's the one that I worked on. So now that one is me. So, like, it's kind of cool. It's almost like rewarding to be able to go to the store and be like, ooh, I worked on, like, I legit worked on this. I designed this. All this crap you see, I did. I made this. Well, relatively. Obviously the guys in the shop have to build the tools and then they run the plastic and make the parts, but still, like, it's my design, and like, that's awesome. Like, it's a cool feeling. It's this feeling of like achievement. Is it, I don't know, proudness, achievement, I don't know, something. It's just cool though to know that you worked on something for a couple months and boom, there it is now. It's in the store. Like, it just feels cool. So I like that. Like, my last job that I was at, the one that was far away, we made circuit boards primarily for the automotive industry. And yes, it was a cool heartburn coughs. It was a cool job. It was cool work, and it was awesome, like, knowing all these cars that would get the circuit board. But at the end of the day, you only have one car. It's not like you're going to walk around inspecting everybody's vehicles. Hey, I worked on this circuit board. This is my design. I did that. People are like, like that. Even if you did that, that'd be weird. You'd be like digging around into people's hoods and they'd be like, what the F are you? Get out of my car. What are you doing? So it kind of didn't have that appeal, because it wasn't something you could just see. You knew it was out there, but you couldn't really like feel like you're, I don't know, getting any sense of pride or whatever the word is I'm looking for. So like now it's cool. Like I said, you can go to the store and see the stuff and it's like, whoa, I did that. I know every single process that went into making this. That's cool. So that's also what I like about my job. And then another thing that I kind of like about my job is the president of the company actually is like a laid back guy. He's easy to approach and talk to. He's super casual. Like we all dress business casual, I guess you will. It's slacks and a button down. We don't have to wear like ties and stuff, just slacks and button down, dress shoes, business casual. And he's even more casual. He'll wear a button down, but he wears jeans every single day. And then in summer he wears shorts. So like for one, that's kind of cool that he's just kind of, he's just one of the guys. He's just casual. Like I've worked for some places where like management is like super stiff and rigid. Like my first company that I worked for, that's what it was kind of like there. It was weird. The president of that company was like so stiff and like he had a chain of command and those people were supposed to approach him only, and if anybody else did, it was almost like it was out of line. Like there was one time I went to him because I think I was new and I didn't really know who I was supposed to talk to, and I think I needed a day off or something, and like he wasn't a dick about it, but he just had this air the whole time like, why are you in my office talking to me? There are other people that you should be talking to. Like I said, he didn't say that. That was just the vibe he was giving off, and it was just so weird and uncomfortable, and I just felt like, I didn't say it either, but I just felt like, sorry for being here. I'm an idiot. I'll quit. And like, that's just, I don't know. I feel like that's a wrong vibe to give off. Like, just be welcoming and open. And that's kind of like what the president of my company that I'm at now is like. Like, his office door is always open. If you pop in or even just walk by and he sees you, he'll flag you to come on in. Hey, what do you need? Okay, yeah, cool. And you take the time to chat with you and listen to you, and so that's pretty cool too. I like that. It makes it a lot less weird and uncomfortable and awkward, and you don't have to feel nervous if you have something you need to talk about. You can just walk in and you're like, yeah, hey, what's up, man? But then there's all the things that, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. So that was basically all like the pluses for my company. Now it's time for why I'm probably not going to last too much longer there. So for one, I don't know if I want to say 1A. This is actually like a big part, so it's like 1A, B, and C. And then 1B will be 1D. So 1A, B, and C is the pay sucks. Okay? The pay is terrible. Like, I'm not just saying this. This is something that I have put in extensive research into, so I know for certain that the pay is terrible. So I live in Connecticut, and if I were to work anywhere, my options would be Connecticut, Mass, or Rhode Island. Those are the states close by. Those are the ones that I would feasibly work at. I'm not going to try to drive to New Jersey or New York or something, but Connecticut, Mass, Rhode Island, yeah, that will work for me. So what I've done for my income things, to know that I'm severely underpaid, is I went to 3 like salary estimate websites, 3 different ones, so I could get a variety of numbers. And what I did was I looked up, I looked up information on 10-year engineer veteran salaries for each state, and then I also looked up chief engineer salaries for each state, because I figure those might carry different values. One's a step up. One's tenure, but the other one's a position. Well, I have both. I have 10 years in the industry, and I'm the chief engineer at this company. So anyways, actually, I don't have 10 years yet. It is April 2021 as of me recording this. My 10 years will be in July. So I almost have 10 years of engineering experience. Anyhow, so what I did was for each state, I got a rate from each resource that I went to, each website. And then what I did was, so per state, I averaged together the 10-year rates, and then I averaged together the chief engineer rates. Then I took those two averages and averaged those together and basically came up with like a general state average pay. Well, it wasn't an average, it was a window. There was a high end and a low end. So that, and then anyways, after that, I took all the three states and just averaged them together just so I could have one number that was easy enough to work with. And so on the low end, I'm underpaid by $30,000. From all that averaged information together, I'm underpaid by $30,000 a year. I have even been willing to accept $10,000 under the low end of the average, because I figure I do work for like a small mom and pop company. Although we do have some very big clients, it's still a small mom and pop company at the end of the day. So I took that into account, and I'm like, okay, I won't be too greedy. And so I figured 10,000 less than the average should be acceptable enough. But even then, that still puts me at 20,000 under what the very low end is. And then if you look at the median end of things, or the median, right? Is it the middle? Median? I think so, right? Median, mode, range. What are the words? Mean, median, mode, and range. Yeah, median. So if you look at the median, I'm undercut by about half. It's about 40. No, I can't be alone. Yeah, so it's about half, or double. I should be making double. Half of what the median rate is, double what I do make. And then the high end, well, the high end's just ridiculous. I mean, I figure the high end is probably based on like the big cities from each town, like Providence for Rhode Island, maybe Boston and Worcester for Mass, and like Hartford and Greenwich or something for Connecticut. But still, if you look at the high end, I'm underpaid by like 100,000+. Like, it's psychotic. But granted, I'm a realist. I don't think I'll ever have a position like that. I would like to. It would be awesome, but I don't think that'll ever happen for me. So I just disregard that. Yeah, it looks nice, but I know that's not reality, at least not for me. But on the low end and on the average end, I feel like that's very reasonable. There's no reason why I can't be making 110,000 a year. No reason. Like, I feel that's very attainable for me. Come on, 10 years in the field? So, that's one thing. I am viciously underpaid. And the worst part, too, isn't even that I make dick money. It's that in the very beginning, what they offered me was even worse. So, for starters, I think I said it in the last video that my company actually sought me out. I didn't seek them out. I just had an email one day that says, hey, you looking for a job? And I was like, I'll entertain this. So anyways, when they decided to move forward with me, what they offered me was $100 less per week than I make now. And, at first on the spot, I couldn't think. And I was like, I guess that sounds okay. And then I thought about it, and 2 days later I called them back and I was like, do you think you could do any better? Because basically what happened was, I was making $100 less than that at the job that I had at the moment. Plus, I was able to get overtime. So, and the job I had was super easy, so mindless. Like, what's the ad that a caveman could do it? Even a monkey could do it. Like, my job was so simple. And I was like, relatively speaking, I make good money considering my job is, like, insanely easy. And I was like, and they want me to go and be their chief engineer and have all this responsibility and stuff for only $100 more? So that's when I called them up and I was like, can you do anything better? Because if they're going to say no, then I was going to say, forget it. I don't want the job then. It's just not worth it. And then that's when they came back and offered me $100 more than what they originally offered. And like, it was on the phone. I wasn't ready. I couldn't think about it. And all I did was a quick rundown in my head, and I was like, okay, $100 more, so that's $400 a month. And I was thinking, like, okay, that's almost my rent. So I was like, I guess it sounds okay. But then I had time to think about it more, and I was like, you know what, this is actually still dick money, like. And then that's when I was doing my research too, and I was like, this really is dick money, like, what? That's all they're gonna give me? So I was gonna call back, but I was like, man, I don't want to. At that point, I didn't really want to lose the opportunity that I was given. But I was like, I don't want to. I don't want this money either. This sucks. So my plan was, okay, fine. I think what I'll do is I'll work there for a couple years and I'll get some experience under my belt. Well, not some experience. Obviously, I had experience, but like get freshened up, because that's when I lost my last job and I was out of the world of engineering for like a year and a half. So I was like, okay, I'll freshen back up. I'll resharpen my skills in SolidWorks. I'll, get to a point where I'm actually back in the field, and I'll start job searching again. But then I started working there and I liked the people and stuff, so I changed my mind. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll deal with it. And then I always held out hope that when my 1 year would come, maybe then I'd get a nice boost. I could prove myself. My first year, work hard, prove myself. And then when raise time comes, boom, I can negotiate, make some good money, because they give me access to their financials. I don't secretly do anything. They straight up give me access to their financials. Like, I have to print reports for them every month or so. So I see all the information right there. So I was going to use that as well as for a bargaining chip. Like, well, it looks like after all your debts and, purchases and stuff, this is the money left over. So you could easily afford to give me this much instead. Like, I was ready. And anyhow, this leads me to part 1D. Remember I said that was all 1 ABC? This will be 1D. Why I'm frustrated with my company, and it's that my 1 year just came and went. Not just, but I mean, like, when it did come, it just came and went. There was no performance review. There was no raise. There wasn't even anybody, like the president of the company called me up and be like, hey, I just realized it's your 1 year. Congratulations or something. Nope, nothing. And maybe that sounds petty to complain about that, but here's where I stand. First off, keep in mind, again, I am a 10-year engineering vet. I have, so to speak, a real job. Like, I expect to be treated more professionally and more real, if you will, than to just be passed over and forgotten about. Like, I didn't go to college so I could just be a grunt. I went to college to make a better life for myself. And so when my company just passes me over and forgets about me like I'm nothing, that's frustrating. That's what I expect if I get a job at McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's, not when I have 3 college degrees. Second off, as long as I've been in industry, that's never happened. My first company was always on point with performance reviews and raises and stuff. Yeah, maybe it was a week late, but it still happened. And maybe you didn't get a good raise, but there was a reason for it. My second company was a huge company, and so everybody had a performance review on the same day. I think it was in November. But same thing, it happened. You had your performance review, you were told what your raise would be, and if it was good or bad or neutral, you were told why you got what you got. Then my company I was in briefly, the one that I was at before I was at the company I'm with now, they gave me $1 raise 6 months in. Like, that's pretty good. 6 months in, I'm getting $1. And then I go here thinking, ooh, this will be cool, and nothing. So that kind of makes me frustrated too, because I'm like, I make dick money to begin with, and now you're putting me on year 2 of making dick money? Like, I've proved myself. You know what I can do. Because, see, this is my process. This is my thought process all along. Is I was thinking, okay, when they first offered me the dick money, I thought, well, in all fairness to them, they don't know me. They don't know what I've done. They don't know what I can do. They don't know what my work ethic is like. They're just hiring me on. They're also a small company. They've had one engineer for the past 10 years, so maybe they're kind of rusty. They don't really know what they're supposed to pay somebody new because they've never had to hire anybody new in the last 10 years. So, I thought about all these things, and I was like, all right, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, I'll work hard and I'll prove myself, and then, like I already said, when raise time comes, maybe I'll be worth it. And nope. So now it's just annoying, because now I'm like, okay, so I'm making the same dick money, and for what? Like, I'm not interested in staying for a company that doesn't care about me. You know what I mean? Like, that just makes me feel like all my efforts and everything I do doesn't matter if you can't pitch in and like, that's the trade-off. I work for you so your company can be prosperous and make money, and in return, you give me some of that as kickback. So it's a trade. Yes, you will have much higher margins than I get. Maybe you make $1 million and I make 100,000 in the year, but at least me working for you at that rate of $100,000, that's what I'm happy with, and that's your trade for me and my skills and my services. So, I don't want to be making dick money forever. And by the way, that $100,000 I'm using as an example. I don't make that. If I was making that, I would be happy and I wouldn't be complaining. This video actually wouldn't even exist because I wouldn't be thinking about leaving my company and why I want to leave it. But yeah, so, that's a thing too. Or what am I saying? I don't know. Losing train of thought without losing my train of thought. It's a weird feeling right now. So anyways, yeah. And it's just, I don't know. So yeah, they don't pay well, and it's almost like they don't care. They just take you for granted, kind of. It's kind of like, how should I put this? Is this a new point? Maybe I'll call it a new point. Let's call this 2. Is how, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just sneak it in. This isn't really a point. It's just a thing. But so the company is a mom and pop company. The current president / owner of the company, his grandfather started the company, sort of. So what happened was the company in general has been in existence since 1919. We have an original print framed and it hangs up on the wall in my engineering area. And I think it's dated October 16th, 1919. Which that's when the print was made. So, the company is obviously around a little bit longer than that too, if the print was finalized on that date. But anyhow, I don't fully remember when, but maybe it was the 50s or 70s, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, maybe it was the 70s. I always think 50s, but that doesn't add up time-wise in my head. It doesn't add up right. So maybe it was the 70s. Or was it the 50s? I don't know. Somewhere around the 50s or 70s. The company ended up getting bought out by the current president of the company's grandfather. I guess what had happened is my company was part of a larger company who no longer wanted the plastics branch, and they were just going to scrap it and basically let it die. Just turn it into nothing. Get rid of it, sell off the building, and just, dissolve it. But, the grandfather worked for the company, and he liked what he did, and he saw it as an opportunity. So he put up all his money, and I think he put his house up too. He did everything, so that way then he could have enough assets to make a trade and acquire the company. And he built it up and got it to a pretty solid point, in which then he handed it off to his son, which is, the current president's dad. And basically, he kind of got to ride on his father's coattails. From what I can gather, I think he has grown it a little bit. He's gotten some good clients. He's added some industries. But for the most part, it was kind of just sailing on what his dad did. And now the current president, from what I understand, he has big visions. He does want to help really blow up our company. He wants to expand it in every sense, make us bigger. He's working on getting a facility out on the West Coast. There is one employee on the West Coast. He's a salesperson for us. I think he's trying to work on getting it a little bit larger, though, getting a full, proper team out there. He also wants to grow our facility. There's been a lot of talk about maybe acquiring a new building just for presses and stuff, but there's ideas. COVID, I think, has kind of screwed up a lot of them, so they haven't really been able to take off, but there's ideas. But anyways, for the most part, all I was trying to get at is he doesn't have to really do anything. Everything that his grandfather and his father has done has put the company in a solid enough position. Like I said, we have some pretty big customers. I mean, big in the markets of. I mean, we mainly service cosmetic, but they're huge players in the industry, and we get a lot of work from them. So it's like the company is stable based on everything that's already been done. Like, there's no work involved. All you gotta do is maintain what we have, and you're good. And then the current president, his son, now works for the company as well in customer service. He's like 21, I think. But anyway, all that backstory was because, just to kind of show how you're not really appreciated is, they got the scheduler so the guy recently took over, well, relatively recently took over the scheduling position. They fired the last scheduler. I mean, she was kind of mouthy and stuff, so that's why they got rid of her. And then he kind of took over, but they just threw him into it, and it's been a terrible job for him all along. I always think he probably regrets his choice of taking this over because it's not been very kind to him at all. But anyways, one of the normal customer service people, not somebody that's related to the president of the company, had said, apparently they said to him once that, oh, you work a thankless job, and then apparently when he was gone, the scheduler guy was gone from his desk, that's when the president's son, who works in customer service and sits behind that other person, said, you said that this is a thankless job. It's not thankless. His thanks is his paycheck. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that just shows how, like, oblivious they are to reality. Like, no, that's not, a paycheck isn't a thanks. A paycheck is mandatory. You have to pay your employees. People don't work for free unless they're willingly volunteering. It's not like scheduling is a volunteer position and he was volunteering, but you pay him because you're like, oh, you do so good that we feel bad to let you volunteer. Okay, then yeah, his paycheck would be thanks, but it's not. This is his job. That's what he does. The pay just comes. Now, if it was thanks, if there was thanks, then the pay would be like a bonus. Here's $1,000. We know you're doing a lot of work. We appreciate it. Here you go. Thank you. That's thanks. No, here's your regular pay that you probably haven't. That guy's been there for 6 months longer than I have. So he's been there almost 2 years now, if not already. He's probably never even seen a raise yet either, just like me. But his pay is his thanks. Like, really? No. It's not how it works. Speaking of that kid, too, he makes me mad because, before he just seemed like he was kind of cool. He was just a kid, like, whatever. But now that he works there, he's kind of a dick. And I think it's because, he feels like he can just, how do I put this? Like, he can just get away with whatever. It's a family-owned business. His dad's the president. Like, what's going to happen? Are you going to give him a hard time about stuff? Well, then he's just going to tattle to his dad, and then what happens? You lose your job? So it's almost like he feels invincible to anything, and I don't like that. Like the other day, or I should actually say last week, he had asked me about some artwork for not really a new customer. They're a returning customer. I guess they were a customer of ours like in the 80s. Then they kind of fell off because the guy sold the business. So the new owners didn't want to deal with us for whatever reason. But now the company's falling apart. So the original owner rebought his company. And he's coming back to us. So anyhow, I guess he wanted to see some artwork laid out on a cap. So I had asked when, the kid came to me, and I said, okay, when do you need it by? Is this super urgent? And he's like, oh, no, just maybe by the end of the week. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. No worries. So I have tons of work all the time. I'm always busy. My position, I'm not just sitting there doing nothing. It's engineering. Like, obviously I'm busy. And yeah, so he kept bugging me every day. How's this coming along? I haven't been able to do it yet. And I even explained to him, because I know the situation. I don't want him to be a little baby and tattled to his dad. So I even explained it to him, just to let him know that I'm not making stuff up. I really am busy. This is what I've been doing. And so eventually, after 2 days of this or 3 days, he clearly tattled to his dad, because then he ends up calling me, hey, how's this thing coming along? Actually, it wasn't even, hey, that would be friendly. It was kind of like almost like snippy. Like I'm sitting down there at my desk doing nothing. Hey, how's this coming along? I hear he's been asking you about it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yep, it's not that important. I got a lot more better things to worry about than what your son wants. Worst case, or worst part of this, kind of worse. It's good and bad just because I found out too late. But apparently this crap he was asking for, I don't even have to do. we have drawings that show a decorating area and provide notes and everything, and the customer is supposed to use our drawing and make their artwork work to our drawing. I'm not supposed to waste my time to put the artwork on for them. They're supposed to they're supposed to find people who can do it for us. So it sucks that I heard this too late after I put in the work, but it's like, oh, good. Well, that's nice to know for the future, so I can tell them, F you, that's not my job. Your customer is supposed to be seeking out proper artwork individuals, not engineering team. But, yeah, it was just annoying how they were all dicks about it. Like, I'm sitting around doing nothing. Like, I got a list right now of 8 things on my plate, so to speak. And, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, I know, I'm doing nothing. Now, let me get to the stupid artwork thing. That wasted about 4 hours, too. That's half a day wasted on something stupid that, come to find out, I didn't even have to do. Anyhow, I'll get to the next real point. So point number 2 that I don't like about my company is the benefits suck. For starters, the only insurance that's offered is health insurance, and it's not even that good. So I pay, I think it's $55 a week for only health insurance. Now, from what I understand, it has fairly high deductibles, like $3,000 deductibles, and I have no idea if there's any kind of discounts or anything on medication. I don't know. I've never gone to the doctors yet to try it out. I don't really want to because I'm worried about the bill. But, oh, and let me say this first. That health insurance only covers me. Technically, I am supposed to be covering my daughter as well. It's part of the court order. I'm supposed to provide insurance coverage for her, in addition to the stupid child support and all that other crap. But the insurance rates, when my daughter gets added on, for some reason skyrocket. It goes from $55 a week for just me to like $254 if I include her. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, as such, my company fills out a paper that says it's not financially feasible for me to provide coverage for her because it takes up too much percentage of my pay, which, I mean, it would. I'd have nothing for take home if I had to pay that much in insurance every week. So, yeah. And mind you, that's only health. So in comparison, at my last job, I was paid bi-weekly, and every bi-week, I'm pretty sure it was like $110, which means it was $55 a week, just like here, for my insurance deductions. But that 110 was health, vision, and dental, and it was myself and my daughter. It wasn't just me, just health. It was everything for me and my daughter. On top of that, the health insurance was ridiculously awesome. No co-pays, I think there was a deductible, but it was super low. It was like $1,000 or less. And covering medications was ridiculously awesome too. I think there was one time that my daughter, I had to get something for her when she was obviously much younger, and I think I needed 3 medications, and it was like $10 for all of them, not per, all together, just $10 is what I had to pay. Like, I don't know, obviously health insurance sucks in the United States, but relatively speaking, paying $10 only for 3 prescriptions is not bad, and having no copay and all that other crap, not bad. So I went from having that to this trash I have now that I can't even afford to cover her on. Like, it's ridiculous. So that's one thing that sucks about the benefits. Second is, there really is no other benefits. We have crappy health insurance, 2 weeks of vacation, and I think they just recently implemented 401k. I only say I think because I know they recently offered it to me. I don't know if that's something new that the company just started doing, or if it's because I'm relatively new, so it just opened up to me to be able to apply for. I don't know what the situation is. But if it's new, then that means that's something they just recently added, and prior they didn't even have that at least. But yeah, that's it. 2 weeks vacation, terrible health insurance, and a 401k. Like, the benefits suck. And on top of it all, like, I'm salaried. So salary's not a problem. It's kind of cool. I don't have to punch in or anything. But it's like, of course, when you're salaried, they expect you to work extra. So I always end up doing it just because then I don't have to worry about hearing it. Like, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll stay an hour late, or I'll come in a little early as well if I can. And then they want you to come in on Saturdays, which I do. Or on the weekends I have my daughter. I can't on the other weekends because I have another job. On the weekends I have her. I'll go in for like 2 hours before I pick her up. And it's just frustrating because it's like, okay, so I'm salary, I'm underpaid as it is, and I'm putting in all this extra time for free. That's cool. So that's unattractive. See, because what would make it better at least is if I did all this crap and got like, say, a monthly bonus. Like that's what happened at my first company. It got busy there, and the chief lead, whatever you want to call him, engineer at that place, he got, was it monthly or was it weekly? I know he got a bonus check. I don't remember if it was monthly or weekly, but you know what? At least that's like a sign of appreciation. Hey, we know you got a lot going on. Thanks for doing a good job. Here you go. Like, that's what's supposed to happen. Not here. Oh, come in on Saturday. Just go do extra time during the week. Oh, yeah, it's free. It's what you get paid for. Yeah, that's what. So I get to be paid for overtime hours without actually making overtime. And I went to college. Good thing I did that. What else do I not like? Oh, this would be number 3. Is a lot of the deadlines are way over the top unrealistic. I've never worked for a company before where everything is balls to the wall. Go, 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 go. And that's exactly what it's like here. It's ridiculous. Like the last project, we needed way more time than we had. It's like we were pressuring all our vendors. There was so much pressure on me, pressure on our vendors. All this nonsense that just should not have even existed, but for some reason did. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's so backwards from what I'm used to. Before it was like, what I'm used to, I mean, not before. What I'm used to is like, hey, how much time do you need to do this? I don't know, probably let's say 2.5 weeks. All right, let's make it 4 weeks. How's that sound? Yeah, sounds good. It went from that to, hey, how much time do you think you need? I don't know, maybe 2.5 weeks. How about we do it in 1 week? But what? Just one? I'm pushing 3 weeks here in my estimate. You're telling me to do this in 1 week? Yeah, you can do it. I guess I can because I have to, right? Like, and then of course there's problems because I was rushed. I don't have the proper time to think and double check my work and yada, yada, yada. And mind you, it's not like I can just sit at my desk and focus on whatever that project is too. No, I got 6 million other things going on, plus people coming in asking me for this and that and the other thing. And so each day you only put 2 hours into that project, and it's like, wow, I only have 1 week to do this, and day 1 I only put 2 hours in. That's cool. So yeah, it's insane what they expect out of you too, and then that just makes it worse for the pay. I'm like, maybe if I was making double what I get, I could deal with this. I'd feel like it's worth it. It's stressful, but you know what? I'm getting paid. I'm not even getting paid, and I got to deal with this. Really? And then am I on the last reason now? I think I might be on the last reason. Yeah. So my last reason for why I don't like my company and want to leave is I just think about how the owner is. So recently he got a Hellcat Red Eye. Haven't looked into how much that is but from what I understand, it's over $100,000 car. And it just makes me mad because I'm like, that's cool. So you can get yourself a $100,000 car that you basically did nothing for. You have this company because you inherited it from your dad. You had to do nothing to build the company up. It was already built up to a point where it's sustainable on its own. And now you get to get a Hellcat, which normally I'd say good for you, but you can't give me a raise. You can't give me regular bonuses if you don't want to give me a raise. You can't hook me up at all, but you can hook yourself up. Like, I don't know. It just makes me mad because it's wrong. It's like you're able to get that Hellcat in part because of the work I do. Engineering, it all starts at engineering. I mean, technically it starts at sales, but if there's no engineering, it's not going to get anywhere. Hey, can you make this for me? Yeah, we can make that. Oh, wait, we don't have an engineering team. I guess we can't make that. So it's like you have that Hellcat in part because of my efforts, but you can't hook me up at all with better pay or anything. It just makes me mad. Or like the son that I say works there in customer service. That makes me mad too, because like he's got I don't know what it is, maybe like a 68 or 70 or something like that, Corvette. And he also has a new Dodge Ram. And it's like, it's annoying because if he was a normal 21-year-old, he'd have nothing.
he wouldn't have anything. But oh no, he's part of a family that, you know, a company has been passed down to. So now he gets to enjoy all these things. And it's just annoying. Like, he'll say my Corvette. And every time he's talking about it, I always think, F you. If you were a normal person, so to speak, you'd have nothing. Like me. I've worked hard for whatever I have, and I still have nothing. And, like, all I want to do is make a better life for myself, and I still have nothing. But you know what? Anything I have, I put in the work for. I put in the effort for. After high school, I was already enrolled in my first college. Before I even graduated that college, I was enrolled in my second college. When I graduated college, 2 months later, I found my first engineering job. Put the time into there. Then I ended up getting into that last company I was in because it paid better and stuff. I went to my third college from there because I had plans of what I could use that degree for. It hasn't paid off yet at all, which is kind of frustrating. But still, you know, I've constantly been trying to better my future. Like, I've been working hard for what I have, and I have nothing. But then you got this dickhead who, oh yeah, my Corvette. F you. You'd have nothing if you're a regular person working customer service at a small mom and pop company. You'd be making dick money and you'd have nothing. It makes me frustrated. Same as the president of the company. You know, it's like, he gets that Hellcat, but it's like, what do you really do? You do nothing all day. Like I said, you inherited a company that your father and grandfather basically built up. You don't have to do anything for it. Like, and then what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Nothing. What do you have to do? If anything comes up, you talk to your COO, your sales guy, me, or your plant manager, and you make them do it. It's like Steve Jobs. You know, Steve Jobs was a joke. He was the face of the company, and, you know, oh, Steve Jobs, oh, and everybody was all about him. But at the end of the day, he was nothing. He came up with ridiculous ideas and just forced his team to make it. Hey, you know what? I don't want to have this giant stack of CDs so I can listen to 1,000 different songs. I want to have one little device that fits nicely into my palm/pocket and can hold all 1,000 of those songs. You know, and these engineers on his team are like, you do realize that technology does not exist, and that's borderline impossible, right? And he was just like, nope, if I can think it up, you can make it, get to it. You know, he did nothing. He couldn't make that stuff. Steve Jobs, he couldn't make any of that. If the company was up to him, there would be no company. Yeah, you can, like, any kid can dream up and imagine crazy things, but it's a different story to actually make it. You know, you don't have kids being CEOs of companies with their crazy ideas. So that's basically the same thing as Steve Jobs. Crazy ideas and his team made it happen. Well, that's like us here. You know, whatever the president of the company wants, he just says it to, like I said, me or the COO or any of these other grunts, if you will, and we do it. But yet you get to have the Hellcat? Really? I can't even get a raise or even a recognition of my 1 year at the company. But you can have a Hellcat. Oh, okay. And then what's even more annoying is I'm pretty sure he bought the COO a Cadillac CT6. I assume that he bought it for him because it does have a company plate on it. So, you know, for it to have a company plate means it does have to be a company car. So I would assume he bought it for him. And granted, it's not a sexy version. He's got kind of like a basic CT6. So, but still, it doesn't mean that it's a cheap car. It's still going to go for, what, $75,000, even if it is a basic one? And between their two cars, what are you looking at? $175,000, $185,000 between the two cars? So you can drop $185,000 for two cars, but you can't give me a, you know, $10,000 a year raise or something nice? Really? Really? Okay. You know, to put this into context, if you gave me a $10,000 a year raise, that's, $185,000? You're looking at 18 years I would have to be at the company for you to spend as much money as you just dropped casually on two cars. 18 years. In total, that's 19 years of service I would give you. I'm not saying I never want to raise again. Oh, give me $10,000 more and that's all I need. But I'm just saying, like, the comparison. You know, you dropped $185,000 in one shot to buy you and one of your employees a car. But if you were to spread that out over 18 years, that would be $10,000 more for me. And it would better my life that much more. And, you know, it's an investment for your company. That car is just something fun for you. Investing in your employees is also investing in your company so they gain tenure and knowledge and someone that you can rely on. If I leave, I've gained as much experience as I have and knowledge within this company. And then if I leave, boom, now that's gone too. Now you got to get some other doofus in to start over and relearn everything. And, it's it's stupid on their part. But yeah, it just makes me mad because it's like all I want to do is better my life. I hate my apartment. My apartment is disgusting. It's like I got a super cheap landlord how do I put this? A super cheap landlord who never fixes anything properly. There's a giant hole in my roof, and he got it fixed by some cheap moron who put up some stupid crap that it's not fixed properly at all. If you took the crap down that the guy put up, the hole is still there. The hole's not fixed, it's just covered up. Oh, there you go, it's better. You can't see it, so it doesn't exist. Okay. So let me guess, if I shut my eyes, the world doesn't exist either because I can't see it? When I'm sleeping, my bed doesn't exist because I can't see it? No, it's still there. So anyways, I got that, and I live in just a disgusting neighborhood. People are fighting all the time. There's always police around. I'm so used to it now to always hear the police, but sometimes my friends come over and they're like, oh man, there's so much cop activity out there. And then it dawns on me, I'm like, oh yeah, that is actually weird. That's how bad this is. I'm just used to it now. I don't want to live in a neighborhood that I'm used to police always being around. That's ridiculous. That's not what I'm about. I don't have 3 college degrees and work as an engineer so I can live in a neighborhood that's police-ridden. You know what I mean? In a gross, crappy apartment. The smallest one, too, on the 3rd floor. I hate it. And I want nothing more than something better. I don't even need a house. I just want to be able to get a better apartment at least. Something bigger. Something with a yard. Something just better. And I can't. I'm stuck here because I don't make enough. And it makes me mad. It's not what I went to college for, was to struggle. I thought college was going to make a better life. Same as my car. I hate my car. It's a massive downgrade from what I had. I had a Cadillac for 6 years. Now I drive a stupid Nissan Altima with very basic. My Cadillac had heated steering wheels, heated and cooled seats, had front and rear sensors, heated side mirrors. It had this cool side light, so when you turned it, when you were taking a turn at night, it would light up so you could see the road perfectly. It had a great audio system. It had leather interior. It had, you name it, it had it. Now I got this stupid basic car, cloth seats, terrible headlights. Terrible radio because half the speakers are blown from the last person who had the car, which even if the speakers weren't blown, it'd still sound like crap anyways. It's just a Nissan Altima. Speaking of that too, it's a weak car because it's only a 4-cylinder. I went from an 8-cylinder 32 valve, awesome powerhouse to this piece of crap with a CVT transmission to make it even worse. I don't want that. This isn't the life I want. I want a better life. And it just makes me mad when he's pulling up with his stupid Hellcat, parking that out front. It's like, F you. You pay me dick, and here you are casually getting a Hellcat? Really? So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the company. It just, I don't know. It's definitely not, unless things change, I don't know. I highly doubt they will. But unless they do, I don't see myself lasting very much longer. Maybe a year and a half, and then I'm out of there. I don't even want to give them that much time, but I do want to build up some skills so I can be more, not skills, but build up some tenure so I can be more marketable. I don't really want to go job hunting after a year because I don't want a company to look at that the wrong way. At least say I go job hunting after 3 years, and that's not great either, but it's a little better. And if I explain the backstory and tell them why I'm leaving, and then they realize that, I put up with that for as long as I did to try to give the company the benefit of the doubt and stuff, then I feel like it'll work better in my favor. But yeah, it's not what I want, and that's why. So that's it. It was cool to get this opportunity, but it is not, no pun intended, it's not paying off at all how I would like it to. So yeah, that's it. And until the next one, you already know, I said see ya.